were that bad growing up, you know. The worst would be sodas, you know, but other than that, not tons of candy or anything. So anyway, and what if dentistry can become an opportunist game for making money through insurance, and you realize, oh, we got a nice ride here. This single woman with 2 kids has no idea that I'm, you know, I would have no idea that there are options, and maybe the kids don't need that many that much dental work, and it would, you know, it's something that was thought about. So in a way, if you have a lot of metal in your mouth, per se, like, what does that cause? For kids, and in my case, they used gas to put kids out when they did fillings and stuff like that. I don't know if they still do that. I mean, Novocaine is, you know, used on adults. I don't know if they have kids versions of Novocaine, you know, or if they are still gassed, if you will, which means you put a mask on and it helps you fall asleep, whatever the gas is. It's kind of a scary, it is kind of freaky when you think about it, that you go under and then they do operations while you're quote unquote under. And I'm wondering if they still use Novocaine, because if you were to wake up and feel the pain, who knows? So anyway, in my case, I had this toothache, and the first dentist I went to, it was really odd, like how they started to handle the whole situation, and it became more of a discussion about when was the last time you saw a doctor, as opposed to, oh my god, you have an emergency toothache, let's figure out if we can give it a look, do an x-ray. The first thing that should have been done was an x-ray. And there's a whole mask issue, and it's like, you're at the dentist, so you have to take off your mask at some point, right? And it got really weird, like, this is weird, like Twilight Zone. They put on a skit or a show. It was bad. So I found another dentist, and he did exactly what one would expect. They took an x-ray and looked at the tooth to figure out what the issue was. He recommended a root canal. This is Sunrise, a dentistry down at 300 block-ish of Market Street. And so anyway, long story short, he recommended a root canal. You know, or if you really wanted to get rid of your tooth, you could, but most people would opt for a root canal just to save the tooth. It's more desirable. But at the time, I was waiting for benefits to kick in from a special program, so I had to pay for the dentist visit. And then by the time, I called around to a million places to see who would take the benefits that would kick in. Fish hook and gill travel, fish eye and gill travel here. And clothing on the ground. Anyway, so I called around to a million oral surgeons or what have you, whoever does root canals. People didn't have openings, and this is for an emergency toothache that was severe, for like 3 or 4 months. So the idea also is you can take the antibiotics and that'll reduce the infection and swelling and this, that, and the other. In my case, the pain miraculously, magically, mysteriously, 3 M's, disappeared. It would resurface like 2 other times when maybe I ate things that had a lot more sodium than what I usually eat. And I started to wonder if things can be mysteriously fixed so that you don't have to go to a hospital. Should I go straight or left? And in a way, it's sort of like, how is it that I don't freeze up at night and I'm freezing cold. And what if someone can actually heat up your body to help you survive at, I know what you mean, they should pay, right? Give you a voucher for a hotel, anything, a house, whatever. Say they could actually heat up your body at night. Like, what if there are these mysterious people out there who can keep you warm at night if you're stuck on the streets so you don't totally freeze to death? And or they can correct dental problems invisibly. Or what if the dental problem is created in order to prove that they can do these things? That would be like a worst case scenario, other than actually being homeless and not being able to do your normal thing. A lot of people can't go to the dentist. They don't have the health insurance. That's very common. It became like sort of a rift or a greater divide between the haves and have-nots, if you will. Not everybody can stay on benefits forever. Like, the idea is you're supposed to be able to find gainful employment, gainful being the key word, because even if you got a job, which you really don't want, especially as an adult, at like Starbucks or what have you, like an older person who has other life experiences, even if you got that, they don't put you on the schedule. It's not really full time. And no one really gives you full time, and you can't jump in very rarely, but usually someone who's desperate for work can't jump in as a supervisor or a manager right off the bat. They have to have previous experience. Point being, just some information for the morning. Sometimes I don't love talking. But for some reason I was sort of triggered to talk this morning. I don't have bird food on me, otherwise I would feed the birds. So Sweet French Quarters, and this is technically kind of the French Quarter area. It's debatable. I guess it's right. It's the tip of Rittenhouse Square up here, 18th and Walnut, I guess, up to 18th and Chestnut, over to 17th and Walnut and Chestnut, and or 16th. I'm not sure how far each. It's either 1 block or 2 blocks, 2 by 2-ish, the French Quarter. So seeing that helps me know that they consider this the French Quarter, apparently. So, walk on, gander up here to Rittenhouse Square. Aritzia. Look up what that means. Big news, we're open. So it looks like they have pretty clothes in there. I rarely shop in retail stores, especially on Walnut Street, just because the prices is sky high. Excuse me. So these days you can get stuff online. You don't even have to go into a store. I'm on the quote-unquote introverted side, or easily annoyed side, so I don't love going into stores that much. It's bad enough to have to grocery shop, and I really don't have the funds to get groceries delivered by like Amazon and stuff like that. Oh, there must be an ambulance or similar over by 222 South West Rittenhouse. So as I mentioned, 222 before is the address of the Basilica on North 17th Street, 222 North 17th.